All right, we're live. Let's try this again. Um, get the invite. Net issues, but try this. All right, we're live again. We were playing this video about Chicago.
To fight a classmate.
Nate Rogers.
One sec, gotta check the headphones now. All right, let's see if that's working.
Joins us now live with details. Nate.
Yeah, that's right. I'm Corey and Natalie, the DuPage County State's attorney, calling this case, quote, disturbing, saying the parents involved, quote, prompted, facilitated, and encouraged their daughters to beat a fellow classmate. Now, just within the last 10 minutes or so, we just got off of the phone, actually FaceTiming with the stepdad who's charged. He claims that all of the charges here are totally false. Now, 30-year-old Tierica Latrice Thomas, as well as 36-year-old Stephen Andre Teague, both charged with contributing to the delinquency of a minor, which is a Class 2 felony. Prosecutors say earlier this month, the victim was walking to her bus stop here in Naperville when she was followed by two sisters and their stepdad, Andre Teague. Authorities say the young girl was thrown to the ground by the sisters and punched. As the beating was happening, prosecutors say the mother and stepdad stood by watching, encouraging the fight. The stepdad told me the victim and his daughter were friends and had been feuding following a social media post. His daughter, 11 years old. The victim, 12 years old. The father says they do not condone violence. We spoke to a neighbor shocked by the charges. Do you ever see the girls outside, the family outside from time to time?
Yeah, I seen the girls. They're always running around with the little boys. They have two little...
We're all the same, right? We're all the same. How many of your friends of your group tell your kids to beat the fuck out of each other's kids?
The boys, I think. Or a boy.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think about something like this? Just sad, unfortunate?
It's very unfortunate, especially in the neighborhood, but, you know, I had no idea. You're shocking me.
Now, authorities do tell us that the victim was not seriously injured. Both Thomas and Teague were released after paying a $4,000 cash bond each. We're told that they both retain lawyers and are due back in court next month. In Naperville, I'm Nate Rogers, Fox 32, Chicago.
Here's one thing you need to do before buying anything online. Don't spend another dime on Amazon.
All right, then they got to follow up.
Disturbing story out of Naperville tonight. Two families at odds now facing charges for encouraging their daughters to fight a classmate.
Nate Rogers is live with more. Nate.
Yeah, that's right. Dawn and Corey. The suspects declined to speak with us in person, but we were able to catch up with them via FaceTime. They told us that these allegations are 100% false. Hear this. Their daughters involved are just 10 and 11 years old. The victim is 12 years old. The suspects telling me the victim was their daughter's friend, and the disagreement which prompted all of this was over a social media post. An altercation between an 11 and 12-year-old turned violent. 30-year-old Tierica Thomas and 36-year-old Stephen Teague, both charged with contributing to the delinquency of a minor.
It's very unfortunate, especially in the neighborhood, but...
We knocked on the couple's door.
Hello?
No answer, but eventually spoke with them via FaceTime.
My daughter on punishment right now for whatever she did. We're not raising no bullies.
Authorities allege the victim was walking to the bus stop while being followed by two sisters and their stepfather, later identified as Stephen Teague. Prosecutors say the victim was eventually knocked to the ground and punched. The mother, Tierica Thomas, at one point allegedly saying, "Get her." Thomas telling me that never happened, and the other child attacked her daughter prior to the fight.
She hit her with a book bag after she got off the school bus. My daughter called me crying. Said the little girl hit her with a book bag and ran home. So me being a parent, I went to knock at the door. But her mother did not come to the door, so I left.
The fight occurred April 3rd, 7 a.m. along Testa Drive. Prosecutors saying the couple, quote, prompted, facilitated, and encouraged
Violence, no. We don't encourage our kids to signify.
Authorities say the victim was not seriously injured. Teague is employed as a chef. Thomas is a nurse. The young couple now facing felony charges, saying they're being unfairly targeted.
This is not as what they're making it seem.
This is very embarrassing for me because I don't condone it. It's my background.
And tonight, the DuPage County State's Attorney calling this case disturbing. Both Thomas and Teague were released after paying a $4,000 cash bond each. They've both hired attorneys that are scheduled back in court next month.
All right, you hearing this?
Oh, yeah, I read about this story, and they're out in Naperville. I don't know if you know about Naperville, but Naperville has been voted one of the best suburbs in the country. Beautiful. Actually, I have a home in a suburb next to Naperville.
You don't got to dox yourself like that.
Oh, no, yeah. But anyway, Naperville is one of the best suburbs in the country. It is so beautiful. It is a gorgeous suburb. So I'm kind of surprised they're there, but who knows? But they brought Blackistan with them, didn't they? And the Naperville authorities are not going to drop this because they are not going to condone this kind of nonsense. This not going to stand.
You don't think Ben Crump's not going to show up and tell them this is racism for accusing them of?
He only shows up when he knows it's a sure thing that he can actually settle, because he never goes to court. And he gets the biggest paydays. This lawyer never goes to court. So no. The Naperville police, the Naperville authorities are going to pursue this. It's not going to drop. And also Naperville. Now, many years ago, Naperville was the subject of a lot of controversy because it used to be super racist, and the Nazis held a march there. In denial of the Holocaust.
The Nazis or the Klan?
The Nazis. The Nazis held a march in Naperville. Is it Naperville? Yeah. No. I'm sorry, that was Skokie. But Naperville was known to be super racist. My high school used to play them, and when we used to play them, all the black kids were like, I don't know. But it's a very diverse suburb now. I mean, it's got not a lot of black people. I'm going to say well under 10%, because it's also it's not a cheap suburb either.
Is that why it's not Blackistan yet?
Because they can't afford to get there. And also, like I said, it's a beautiful suburb, very peaceful. The crime rate is low, and they are not going to let this stand. Now, you're not going to bring Blackistan out to Naperville.
So when you said the Nazis marched?
No, I'm sorry. I was wrong about that. The Nazis marched in Skokie. But Naperville was also known to be extremely racist. Naperville was known to be racist. But things have changed and they've lightened up. But like I said, it's a gorgeous suburb. And those white people out there are not going to let that stand. They brought that ghetto crap there. What did they do? They drove alongside, encouraging their daughter to jump this girl.
Yeah, I think you said that the stepfather was walking behind the two girls, right?
Oh,
or was it the mom?
Yeah.
I said it was the mom. I'm not sure. I was trying to pull other stories too.
I'm pretty sure they were both there, but I thought they were driving, but maybe one was walking, encouraging them to jump this girl, and that's why their asses got locked up, and not just the girl. They recognized that the parents had a huge part in it and locked both of them dusties up. Good.
Do you want more? I mean, how much sad stuff do you want to go over?
Oh, let's
Wanna
go
go over
for
the
it.
kid?
I'm in a good mood. Let's go for it.
All right, let's talk about your prosecutor who's now not running for re-election.
Ooh,
You
yes.
think this is the reason here? The baby? There's going to be an ad, of course.
But I am
The
so
baby
glad
boy,
she's not
community
going.
activist.
No, go ahead.
No, I said I am so glad she's not going to run again. And you know what? And because of her and the way she has, like, you know, because how she's ran the state's attorney's office, they have so many openings because nobody wants to work there.
Yeah, I heard they're only down to like 2 DAs, right?
Right. Because nobody wants to work for her because of the environment she's created.
Because she's a psychopath?
Mm-hmm.
Because she excuses murderers? I heard she sent a text message barking at Lori Lightfoot after Lori Lightfoot spoke at the African American Mayors Coalition thing.
Yes, she did. Yes, she
And
did. Basically
you-
saying, Lori Lightfoot, keep my name out of your mouth.
Oh, so Will Smith.
Yeah, huh?
All right. Well, here I think that. So you think this? All right, I think this is the reason she might not be running, but I don't know.
Okay, let's get the tea.
Charges in the violent crash that claimed the child's young life.
And WGN's Courtney Spinelli live outside Public Safety Headquarters with more on their call to action. Courtney.
Yeah, good evening. 8 days after a crash involving a stolen car that claimed the life of a 6-month-old boy, and 2 teens are charged with only misdemeanors, accused for their role in the crash. Now, community activist Andrew Holmes calling a press conference here today to demand action.
Did you see this crash?
Yes.
They had to be going 85, 90 miles an hour to move the truck the way they did.
You know
Either
what?
that or trucks just aren't made of metal. I mean, trucks also are not made of metal anymore. So
No, you know what? You know they were flying. They didn't know what they were doing. They were driving crazy.
no, they stole the car.
Yeah, I know.
The Kia Challenge or the Hyundai Challenge or whatever. Kia boys.
The state's attorney's office.
You took that baby's life. You took the breath out of that baby. All because you want to joyride and steal somebody's car.
Outrage from community activists after a violent crash involving a stolen car on the west side claims the life of 6-month-old Christian Uvidia and injures others in his family, including his mother.
She has to close a casket. You all opened up a door and closed the door and got in that car and took off.
Police say a stolen Hyundai crashed into a pickup truck at Washington and Costner on April 16th. We're stopping the video right before the impact out of respect for the victim's family.
Why? You showed the George Floyd thing for a year. What the fuck? What are you talking about? Oh, so now the victim's not a black dude. And this is a Latino baby, isn't it? I don't think this is it doesn't look.
No, that baby's not a white baby. That's white adjacent.
6 months. That baby could have been what we doing to help children.
But now his loved ones are preparing to lay him to rest, a life that was just getting started.
I don't know how much the price of the car was, but I'm sure it wasn't equivalent to the life of a child.
Last week, Annalise Rivera telling WGN the baby was the light of their lives, a little boy who loved to sing and dance, now sharing this video she will cherish forever.
So Spanish, so Latino.
And you know,
Rivera.
we
Okay.
have a large Latino population here in Chicago. And you know what? And I have yet to see them really get angry over anything, like really, really angry. But I think this could have ticked them off.
I'm surprised. I don't like Fed posting, but I'm surprised Kim Fox hasn't. I'm just surprised someone hasn't like thrown eggs at her or done something worse. You know. I mean, I don't know what if my baby was killed, if my children were killed, I don't think I could mentally hang on. And someone let them go.
How could you? That is the worst thing you can experience, the loss of a child. That's
Yeah, I'll put that like top 3.
Yeah, you know. So You know, and Kim Fox, her entire career has been to let these Dusties roam free with as little punishment as possible, with her bail reforms and everything. Just let everybody roam the earth and like terrorize all of us. Oh, she's a vile person.
I got a couple more follow-ups here. Here. I mean, are you really? I mean, are you really? Do you just think we're so weak as a society that no one has done anything to her yet?
You know what? Yeah. Yeah. You know what? She hasn't offended the people who actually would do it yet. You know, a lot of the stuff she's doing is kind of going like, you know, under the radar. And it sounds reasonable. And the white liberals are like, oh yeah, let's do bail reform. Oh yeah, you know, let's go along with these sentence reductions and all.
I do blame a lot on my people for all this bullshit.
You know, because not enough of them have been victims yet to tick off the right person. So yeah, we are kind of weak.
I was trying to say this to family because family was saying family's trying to argue with me that crime is down. And I was trying to say, well, you are aware that the FBI intentionally didn't release crime statistics until after the 2022 gubernatorial elections and the midterms. And that was for a political reason.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was because they're on the side of the Democrats.
Oh yeah, everything is so manipulated. Like you don't even know the truth until 2 years after it happens.
Yeah. I mean, they said their latest report statistics said 60% of violent crime. But I can't trust that because I know so many cities. If it's 60%, and I have a cop that I watch his show. He's from Philly.
Mm-hmm.
His channel is called L.A. Wilkes.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a cop from Philly. And he was talking about how Larry Krasner, the DA in Philly, got caught fudging the gun numbers because he was just dropping all the gun charges against black youth, black kids. And he wanted to punish a 14-year-old like Italian family who defended themselves in the shooting. I told you the kid picked up a gun because his mom was fighting with the Dusty over the cash register. So on a strong arm robbery, and the son shot him one bullet in the face. And they wanted to do some communism like Jose Alba in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Pennsylvania is a castle doctrine state,
mm-hmm.
They wanted to start going down that. They wanted to start going down that slope of, well, we don't tolerate that in Philadelphia, but Krasner got caught fudging the numbers, so that case got dropped.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, or like after the Roxborough shooting at the high school, where the 5 black kids got out of the cars and they fired at the Roxborough. It was an impromptu football game, a football scrimmage.
Right. Okay, yeah. Okay, now I got that.
They killed this 14-year-old Latino kid.
Mm-hmm.
And Krasner was actually put on the hot seat, and there was actual pushback from a left-leaning journalist. And the response to that was the Democrat mayor Jim Kenney came out and he banned handguns from rec centers. And I don't know what that was going to do, but Harrisburg has a GOA chapter. Do you know what GOA is?
No.
Gun Owners of America. They do what the NRA is supposed to do. And they actually took Philadelphia to court and they said, look, you can't just willy-nilly ban people from defending themselves, especially in Philadelphia. You know, like, because it was a slippery slope to me. Oh, let's just start banning guns in certain places. Mm-hmm. Yet every interview I see of a Dusty with a gun, and we covered 2 of them. We covered a 14-year-old. We covered the 19-year-old from Philly. He had a gun at 14. Where'd you get it? No question, no answer. And then we covered the mom from Baltimore whose son had the Uzi in the school. Where'd you get it? Oh, no answer. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is to ban guns. So everyone else ban. That's the answer.
Right. They still have their pipeline for guns, but everybody else is banned.
Well, when they talk about gun control, here are kids who have them. Why are you not trying to figure out where they're getting them? That would seem like a common sense question, right?
You would think that would be a priority too.
But I think I figured out the reason why they won't say anything about it, why they don't push that angle. I think I know the reason. This is my speculation. I think it's because that shows some form of accountability.
Mm.
Because potentially, and look, it could even be something like South Africa. The South African police, like in Johannesburg and in Cape Town, the police force, which are now 70% Bantu, have been caught selling guns that have supposed to have been destroyed, selling them to gangs.
Okay.
So, well, I'm just again, I'm not pro or against police. I'm 50-50. Like, we need the police. We need something.
Oh hell yeah.
I'm not Mr. Libertarian. Oh, we'll defend ourselves. No, you're probably not. Most people can't even go to the fucking gym. You think they're going to pick up a gun and defend their family? They can't even get up off the couch fast. Almost half of America is tight, like obese. Like it just like we need people to wear flak armor and have that power. But that when cops fuck up, they have to be held to a higher standard. You know.
Of course. See,
So,
that is really my main thing with cops. Look, we know, at least I hope, because I do have, I'm not completely a cynical person. We hope most cops just want to do a decent job, right? But we also know there's some cops that are like, you know, they're fucking criminals. That's what they are. You know, they're gang with a badge. But the thing is that nothing happens to them. There's no national database to see who's a bad cop. When they get fired, they just move to the next. The police union defends like all the bad cops. It's like, come on, there's no accountability. Now, this is something.
There is now. Now cops are just leaving.
Well, yeah, they're quitting because they don't want to, you know, they don't want to get caught doing what they're doing, and they don't want to put up with the BS. You know, and the ones that are retired, the ones at that age are like, I'm just going to retire and get out of here. I don't blame them, but I still say there needs to be accountability. If a CNA in a nursing home has nationwide accountability, why not a cop?
Yeah.
If a CNA gets caught somehow abusing a patient, that CNA can never work again as a CNA. They're banned in the United States for life.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's why I'm like, okay, but these cops can do whatever, and there's no accountability. So yeah, the one bad apple does spoil the bunch.
I don't know. You gotta, if you ever get a chance, you gotta watch some Ock Nation news. After 2020, there have been so many investigations of cops just. I don't know. Cops seem to be hamstrung now. I mean, they're rolling it back and rolling it back. Like in Philadelphia, you can't even give chase anymore in car chases. You can't pull people over for low level infractions anymore. You can drive without a tag. You can drive without a license. You can drive without insurance. You can drive with a messed up car. You can't, if you smell weed in the car, nothing you can do about it. And that was essentially because 90% of traffic tickets were going to blacks, you know, and so that was deemed as, it's the term now they use is or at least people on my side, it's called racism of the gaps. Have you ever heard of the argument called the God of the Gaps? When atheists would debate Christians or Muslims or whatever, enter religion here. Let's say an atheist or a scientist was saying, yeah, so sodium ions will gather in the Purkinje fibers of the heart, and this is what causes the myofibrillar tissue to beat. But we don't know everything about the heartbeat. And then the Christian or the religious person will say, oh, you don't know everything? Well, that gap of knowledge, that's God. So there's a guy called Atheism is Unstoppable, and he just coined the phrase racism of the gaps, because essentially what you get is you get a study, and the study will just show two groups, Group A, Group B. Group B has a huge difference from Group A. Racism.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's racist nowadays. A half full cup of water nowadays is racist. I read that.
Yeah. Here, you want me to keep going with this, and this will go in I got a couple videos here on this.
I'm sorry?
You want me to keep going with this kid, and we'll see about Kim Fox not running?
Yeah.
All right.
Witnesses say there were 4 people inside the stolen car. Police confirmed 2 were taken into custody, a 14 and 17-year-old boy, both charged with misdemeanor criminal trespass to a vehicle.
I mean, trespassing to a vehicle is like you give respect to that vehicle more than you give to this baby.
Community activist Andrew Holmes calling the charges a, quote, slap on the wrist, while demanding the state's attorney upgrade charges. But the investigation is still ongoing, according to police.
Well, you certainly have to let the law enforcement investigation play out, and it has been a bit of time here. This is a very serious matter.
We asked attorney Joe Roddy about cases like this in general and possible next steps. While he's not involved in this, he says there are certainly questions to be asked of law enforcement and prosecutors.
You look at the highest charge here, and that would be reckless homicide. And what is the sort of evidence that might support that?
He says investigators would need to look at the facts of the case to see if there is any evidence to support a charge like that.
You also need to look at another question is, why are they only being charged with a misdemeanor criminal trespass to vehicle and not possibly possession of the stolen vehicle?
Police also haven't said if either teen charged was the driver of the stolen car. Still, Roddy says one thing to keep in mind: if a person is charged with a misdemeanor and that case is closed by a plea or resolution, you can't charge them again with a higher class case involving the same circumstances due to the double jeopardy clause.
So I think law enforcement and the state's attorney's office wants to make sure that they get this right. Obviously, the family, this is a horrific tragedy.
Nah, shut up. This guy giving him too much fucking credit. Stop. Fucking stop. She got a track record. Don't do that. This guy's just fucking tell the truth. Damn.
Right. This is what she does. She wants them to run wild. No consequences.
Here, I got it here. Got one more video here, then we'll cover
the all-new Chevy.
What she's not doing.
Old baby boy told me that her family is beyond broken, and after they heard that only misdemeanor charges had been filed, she said it was like reliving that terrible day all over again. Christian Uvidia's family, like many, took his photo to commemorate his monthly milestones.
It's sad because my mom took a picture of him every single month.
But Christian's family would only get to capture 5 photos.
We never got to take the 6th one.
Christian's aunt, Annalise Rivera, says now this West Side family is planning the baby's funeral within a year of celebrating his arrival into this world.
The funeral director, he suggested that we put balloons because those will be the only balloons that he'll ever receive.
Christian died last week after Chicago police say a stolen Hyundai crashed into the pickup truck his mother was driving with him and his 2 sisters. The crash in West Garfield Park was captured on surveillance video, which refrozen before impact. It happened in front of Sean Walker's home on Washington and Costner. Walker ran out and performed CPR on the baby before help arrived.
And I just wanted to try to do what I can to help the situation out and to help the mom.
Police say a 14 and 17-year-old were arrested, charged with misdemeanor counts of.
What do you think about that with the community there?
You know,
Does it surprise? What do you think about the two people trying to help the car and everyone else just standing there? What do you think about these men? These men just like,
oh well, yeah, I'm not impressed because I could say a few things, but you know what? Look, these are some reprehensible people, and this is what they do. Sympathy, empathy for somebody outside of themselves. Oh, that doesn't exist. Where are the heroes?
is this Woodlawn? Is this Woodlawn?
I can't
I have a
see.
video down here about Woodlawn crash. No, never mind. Okay. I have another video. All
Arrested.
right.
The two now charged with misdemeanor counts of criminal trespassing.
The charges does not fit the crime.
Community activists today demanding stiffer charges be filed.
My message is to the state's attorney.
What do you think this guy?
With the little chunky one or the activist? This guy's been around for a long time. I've seen this guy a long time.
Does he actually do anything?
You know what? He's an activist. We got a lot of professional activists in Chicago. They can make a good living here. Jesse Jackson did.
All right, I got one for here. This happened 2 hours ago. The State Farm commercial, and then I'll look up. I found a Kim Fox not running.
And Terrell, some terrifying moments for a woman who was just trying to park her car, finding herself surrounded by carjackers. Police say the 25-year-old woman was pulling into a parking spot in the 1100 block of West Wrightwood in Lincoln Park at around 9:10 last night. Authorities say 5 males got out of a black SUV and forced her out of her car at gunpoint. Police say some of the offenders were able to get away in the victim's 2023 Chevy Malibu, leaving her uninjured. Her unoccupied car was found near Southport and Diversey, where police were on the scene dusting the vehicle for fingerprints. Meanwhile, I just spoke to one man who lives very close to where the woman was carjacked.
Oh, it's obviously incredibly unfortunate. I mean, we consider this to be a safe neighborhood, and
This guy's retarded. Jesus.
And that is a very expensive neighborhood.
That doesn't mean that Dusty can't take a car and follow you home.
Well, you know
That
what?
doesn't mean anything.
What they do is they go over to the expensive neighborhoods to carjack people. They don't live there.
Right.
You know, we
Right.
have fantastic
That-
public transportation here in Chicago.
That Asian woman in Houston, that Dusty followed her for 24 miles.
Mm.
And the joke that was on DZ's panel was he wouldn't drive that far for a job.
Okay. Oh, those ladies are brutal. I love them so much.
we walk our dog. We walk here all the time, and to have this happen literally right out.
I mean, I carry when I walk my dog. I don't know what to say.
He's
You know,
a little too complacent. He's a little too complacent. He's not outraged at all. Look, he's not outraged at all.
well, what's he allowed? I mean, well, that's Chicago. What's going to happen when you speak out against it?
You know what? You're right. I don't, when he goes to work, who's going to deal with him after seeing him act up, act outraged on camera? Then he's going to have to deal with politics at work unless he owns his own company, because this is Chicago and liberals rule.
Outside your house in this neighborhood is frightening and one point, and a very unfortunate comment on what's happening right now.
Just last month, the Illinois Secretary of State announced $21 million in new funding to address the problem of carjackings in the state. The state agency reports that more than 1,600 armed carjackings were reported in Chicago last year, which marked an 11% decrease from 2021, but it was still.
All right, let me find. There was a video
Well,
on
Judy,
Fox.
the aunt of the 6-month-old.
There's a video on Fox, and then I'll cover one or two from Baltimore.
Okay.
Here it is. Kim Fox. I will not be on next year's ballot.
Right now at 6, we're following a developing story. Cook County State's Attorney Kim Fox will not run for re-election. She made the announcement today at the City Club.
That when I became state's attorney, I knew that I had a mission and an agenda that I wanted to achieve, which was fairness, justice, and equity, and that kids who lived in neighborhoods just like mine could live to see another day, and not just live, but they could be lawyers and policymakers in the city that they call home.
Yeah, but those same kids can get 1,000 on their SATs, while someone like me has to get a 1270, and an Asian has to get a 1450.
These kids ain't getting no 1,000 on their SATs. They can't even read. What are you talking about?
And that's from the Asian American Studies website, which shows that an Asian has to get a 1450, while an African American can get anywhere from a 980 to 1,000.
That is so wrong. That is just, you know what? That is all kind of discrimination.
White people got to get a 1270. I'll tell you what. I'm just trying to find shit for us to cover. We would need a couple hours for this, but would you want to ever cover the arguments for the lawsuit from the Students of Fair Admissions against Harvard and North Carolina University in Chapel Hill?
As a matter of fact, I would.
And you can hear, essentially North Carolina University created a 40-point system where race was considered on the point system. And judges like Sotomayor, Kagan, and the new judge, Ketanji Brown Jackson, they were basically saying, oh, it's just 1 point. Only one of the points is race. It's not the only point. But the Students for Fair Admissions were saying, yes, but in a game of life, this is a zero-sum game. So if people can be admitted for race, they can also be denied because of race.
Bingo. Because you've got yourself on a slippery slope playing that game.
Right. And then Harvard was actually found. What they did was to get around the tests. They created a character test where for the past 3 years, African Americans have always been at the highest of every test, and Asian Americans have always scored the lowest. And I don't mean like 1 or 2. I mean every one. Every Asian always scores low, and every African American always scores the highest.
What's on the test?
It's a character test, which could be subjective, potentially subjective, based on the interviewer. And I have to hear people like, you're going to take this however you take this. I have to hear people like Mayor Sotomayor say, but don't you think it's a problem if the Black percentage of students goes from 8.8 down to 6.2? And the lawyer for Students for Fair Admissions goes, no, I don't understand the educational benefit. And this is a question that's always asked. And Justice Thomas asks, I think it's the lawyer for North Carolina, can you explain to me the educational benefits of diversity? And the lawyer brought up like studies. And the lawyer said, well, it helps us address stereotypes, which would otherwise be harmful. And he said, the number one study we have is in like the stock market. And Justice Clarence Thomas's answer was, and he said, I don't put too much stock into studies like that because I've heard those same studies be argued in favor of segregation, which is a burn.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said, and when I went to college, I didn't have diversity, but I had educational diversity. He said I had diversity of education. I didn't have diversity of diversity of student population. I had diversity of education. And he said, and now I'm sitting up here. So I'm not really seeing what I don't think parents send their kids to school to feel good or, find themselves. They send them to school to accomplish something, which is a very boomer perspective. That's not what millennials do now, the millennial thing. And as you see in the justice system and in the schools is we're trying to be their friend.
Oh yeah, school is social now. It's social. Education is on the back burner. That's why American schools are ranked 10th. 10th. Because I am a boomer. And I remember when I went to college. When I went to college, I did pretty good. Well, the first year was I kind of floundered, but then I, got my way. And then I took this one class that was a little bit above me, and I had to write a paper. And the professor, he gave me back the paper, and he said, "Go to the writing lab," because he goes, "What you have to say is important, but you need a lot of help. And I don't know how you got this far." And I had to spend a little while in the writing lab because there were gaps in my education. But somehow they had pushed me through. I was a sophomore in college and I had to go to the writing lab because my writing was subpar.
Really?
And so I had to clean up my act, because he wasn't going to just pass me through. And when I found out that what I was doing wasn't what I thought I was doing, I was humiliated. I was so embarrassed. I had to get on my P's and Q's and bring myself up to snuff. Like, I do not believe in passing these children along just for ego's sake. Give them a real education. And if they're screwing up, tutor them, do whatever you got to do. But I don't want somebody who's my doctor who just got passed along. There are people, there are professions where you need people to know their stuff. And that's why you've got all these studies lately of, they're going through these schools and they're testing these kids, and these kids cannot read at their level. Not only can they not read at their level, they're reading so many levels below what they're supposed to because they're just passing them through. And Kim Foxx, with her bleeding heart, oh, the poor, deprived youth in these neighborhoods, if only you give them a chance, they can grow up to be whatever. No, them Dusties gonna be just what they are. They illiterate and they're mean. And they have no values. I don't say they don't have value. I say they have no values. So her and her bleeding heart, you can go away, because I think that she has done so much harm. And I am waiting for the Latino community to get angry and make some noise. And they haven't. I'm here. I would hear it.
Yeah.
So, horrible. Okay. Stepping back.
Let me hit it. Let me keep going.
And I feel that I have done that.
Fox previously served as chief of staff for Cook County Board President Toni Preckwinkle, and she was a Cook County prosecutor for 12 years.
Fox's term as state's attorney started with a strong win, but she often faced criticism for her decisions.
WGN's Dana Rebick is live at City Hall with reaction tonight. Dana.
Well, we are hearing today from former prosecutors, state lawmakers, as well as the head of the Fraternal Order of Police, Mayor-elect Brandon Johnson and Mayor Lightfoot, sending out statements as well, some praising Kim Foxx time in office, others criticizing her.
I think it was on the wall, and good riddance.
The head of the Fraternal Order of Police speaking out on Kim Foxx's departure. The relationship between the Cook County State's Attorney's Office and the FOP often icy.
It's rhetoric matters. And when you're literally minimizing criminal behavior, it sends a horrible signal. It's a driver for a lot of things. The lawlessness, even with these teen roving bands of I could do whatever I want to do whenever I want to do it, and there's no repercussions.
Mayor-elect Brandon Johnson releasing a statement today praising some of Fox's accomplishments during her tenure, including overturning nearly 200 wrongful convictions and expunging more than 15,000 cannabis crimes, saying, quote, "She has led her office with dignity and civility, and as a colleague at the county level, I am grateful for the work that she has accomplished in her 2 terms. I wish her all the best in her future endeavors." Mayor Lightfoot tweeting, quote, "I commend and thank Cook County State's Attorney Kim Foxx for stepping up and serving our city and county through a particularly tough moment in history. I know what it's like being a Black woman in leadership and constantly being judged and evaluated through a different set of standards. I wish State's Attorney Foxx and her family the best as she embarks on a new chapter."
Throughout her career, State's Attorney Foxx has remained focused on thoughtful, equitable policies and programs that focus on people and build safe communities.
Is that all just double speak?
Yeah, that's basically, goodbye. Let's make nice and you go bye-bye now. Because both of them are leaving. Both of them are going into private, whatever they're gonna do.
That's terrifying.
So at least they didn't get rich off the office.
And you want me to finish with Baltimore?
Yeah,
I apologize. I'm gonna try. There's a recording of the transcript where you can actually read the transcript as it goes through the entire court case.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a long ass transcript. It's like 4 hours.
Ooh.
So I don't know. Would you want to listen to that and go over that at some point?
Ooh, not for 4 hours. Okay. What do the kids say? They have ADHD, ADD.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody's neurodivergent.
Yeah.
Not to make fun of people who actually are,
And here, is there some city you want me to hit, or you just want me to go to Baltimore?
Let's do Baltimore.
All right.
Breaking news from Baltimore as we come on the air.
Oh, wait. Let me do this one. The Dadeville. This is the Alabama shooting where they shot up 28 people and killed 4 at the birthday party, the Sweet 16.
Mm-hmm.
Jaw-dropping details about
None of these people got a call from Biden.
the deadly mass shooting in Dadeville. Court testimony revealing 89 shots were fired, more than half a dozen guns were used. Fox News' Shelby Myers now joining us from the breaking news desk with the very latest tonight. Shelby, we're also finding out what might have been the trigger to that violence.
Yeah, we are, Byron. An investigator testified that a DJ speaker.
The trigger. Guns are bad. Guns are bad. Guns are bad.
Speaker fell over at the Sweet 16 birthday party. Speaker fell over at the Sweet 16 birthday party, making a sound similar to a gunshot, causing some to pull up their shirts to show their guns. Not long after, real gunfire came from all directions. For the first time tonight, we're learning what turned a Sweet 16 birthday party in Dadeville deadly. 4 people killed, 32 others injured. During an Anaya's Law hearing to see if the 6 suspects charged will be held without bail until trial, an Alabama law enforcement agent testified what he says went down inside that dance studio Easter weekend. The agent said 50 to 60 people were inside the hall. 89 shots were fired and 7 different guns were likely used. The agent went on to say it seemed to have been sparked by a DJ speaker that fell over, making a sound similar to gunfire. When that happened, the agent testified that several young people lifted their shirts to show they had guns. The birthday girl's mother told anyone over 18 or carrots rang out, leaving multiple shell casings and blood everywhere.
So this all happened because when the mom saw the guns, she told them to leave.
Yes, she told them to leave.
Right. And people wonder why I discriminate.
Is it discrimination or is it like, discernment?
Well, this happens all the time.
It does happen all the time. It's common. I mean, the only thing that's uncommon about this is the number of people that were injured at the one party. Now, if you had these kind of numbers in Chicago for the whole weekend, we would consider it a successful weekend. We're like, oh, wow, that was pretty good. Yeah, the only thing that stands out about this is that it was that many people injured at one time, and it was, where it was. It was in the South.
Yeah. But again, you have like teenagers. Where'd they get them?
Teenagers with guns.
Yeah, and my question, where'd they get them? Because I just want to know. Like, I don't know why that's the point. I'm now starting to like. That's the thing I'm just starting to notice all the time. Yeah, they had guns. Yeah, they had guns. Oh, where did they?
They know where they're coming in. They gotta know where they're coming in. But somehow that information is like, protected because they don't want to do anything about it coming in. Let them niggas kill each other, basically. Oops, sorry.
No, you say whatever you want. It just doesn't, to me, it isn't consistent. All these news stations and all these, gun violence. Where are the guns coming from? Oh, we don't care. Got to get the guns. Where are they coming from? Oh, we're not going to ask that.
I mean, we know where they're coming from here in Chicago because it's clear. We know the path.
Where are they coming?
They're coming straight from Indiana. Chicago's next to Indiana. And Indiana is guns, guns, guns. We don't have checkpoints at the border. You just go over to Indiana or wherever you want to go and get what you want and come on back.
Nah. You can't do that.
Who can't?
That's 10.
I can do that right now.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
You're telling me you can go to an FFL in another state and you'll pass a background check?
Well, personally, I have a gun license.
But there's no such thing. But there's no such thing as state by state reciprocity.
Okay, well then I can go over to Indiana and I'll register myself and go back in a couple of days and get my gun.
Nah, wait a minute.
Why can't I do that? Really, honestly, why can't I do that? I'm going down to Texas. I'm going to Texas in the end of May, and I'm going gun shopping because what I got right now is a little too much.
All right. Texas is a different thing with private sale. But here in Pennsylvania, I don't know about Indiana, but in Pennsylvania, you can't be a citizen of another state. You can't purchase one. If you buy a gun, we went over this the other day. If you buy a gun in Pennsylvania and you get caught giving it to someone else, that's 10 years.
You know what? I'm going to find out.
That's where I live.
What's the law for Indiana? Can I go over to Indiana and get a gun, or am I just talking out of my behind?
I'm just saying, like at the Harrisburg Farm Show, where they sell guns, you can't buy one. And they have this little green iPad where they run a background check. You have to stand there and wait. They ask for your license. You cannot, in Pennsylvania, you cannot sell. Again, private sale, I'm not sure. But even at the gun show in Harrisburg, where all the yeehaw and all the, whatever you want to call it, redneck, hillbilly, whatever. You cannot buy any gun out of the Harrisburg Expo without giving your ID. What's up?
You have to be a citizen of that state to purchase.
You have to be. In Pennsylvania, if you're not a citizen of the state, goodbye.
Really?
Hell yeah. If you don't have an ID, a state ID, license, that has a Pennsylvania residency, you can't buy a gun. That's what I'm saying. Like, so when these I'm pretty sure there's three things that are universal in this state, in the country. 18-year-olds can purchase long guns.
Right.
21-year-old can purchase handguns. And then every state has their own kind of like, there's reciprocity. I can't take my legally purchased and owned firearms. I cannot take to New York. I cannot take to New Jersey. I cannot take to DC, but I can take them to Ohio. I can take them to West Virginia. I don't think they're all right. Hang on. You know about concealed carry reciprocity? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't know about reciprocity.
All right. Because
I do know that I was at the airport when I came back. There was a guy who was checking his gun at the counter. He was like saying, "Hey, you know what? Yes, I'm traveling with a firearm." And
yeah, you have to turn it in.
Yeah,
it's the same thing with Amtrak. With Amtrak, you have to turn it in, which to me is fucking stupid. Because just like what's happening now, I don't know if they showed it on the show last night with DZ. In Tampa, a person was killed, and now a black family is suing the apartment complex because they didn't have security.
Oh,
like, what are you going to do? You're going to sue Amtrak? And I'm not even saying that the gun solves the problem, but it's like there are no guards or police. All right, hang on. Reciprocity. Because you're a gun owner, I think this is important. I will always stop for.
Yeah, educate me.
I can't have a Jersey license and purchase a handgun in Pennsylvania. No fucking way. They'll kick you right out of the store. Every gun store, like Bass and Sportsman Warehouse, which I don't go to anymore because they don't allow you to carry. Fuck that place. Why would I go somewhere where they sell me guns but I can't carry in the store? That's retarded. And even said to me, "Oh, we believe in your Second Amendment right." I said, "Yeah, but not in your own store. You don't believe in it."
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? "Oh, we believe in it." I said, "No, you don't. Don't gaslight me. You're retarded." All right. This is from the USCCA. Oh man, why is it? All right, here we go. Hang on. Let me pull up the screen. So, yeah, I don't know how it is in Indiana. I could be wrong. I don't know how private sales work. I know there's more private sales. They're a little looser in some southern states. So do you see this map here?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm in Pennsylvania. Any state that's green or yellow, I can carry. Now, in certain states, even if they have concealed carry, you can't show up to another state with concealed carry if you don't have your own state concealed carry. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I think the yellow states, some of them might have concealed carry, but I'm pretty sure I can't show up with my piece and not be a citizen of that state.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to me, this is stupid. If my driver's license is valid in all 50 states, why the fuck isn't my gun? Am I a citizen of this country or not?
Depends on where you are. Depends on who you are. Depends on what.
Why? Am I? Yeah, but you see, but to me that's stupid. If I live in Pennsylvania and I want to drive to Nebraska, what's the problem? Am I in America or not? You know what I mean? So I can't go to New York or any of these red states. I can't. That's a felony. Gun rights gone. Boom. Over. But again, I can't go to Ohio and purchase a gun. The first thing they ask for is your license or any ID, and if you're not a citizen, you can buy ammo. You can buy accessories. I can buy clips and a strap or a backpack or a safe, but I can't buy a gun in another state. I don't know about Indiana, but
I know. I'm going to find that out.
in Pennsylvania, no fucking way. Every store where you can buy a gun, they have a sign that says, if you are not the person buying this gun and you give it to someone else and you're caught, that can be 10 years in prison.
Mm-hmm.
So so when I hear people talk about like, oh, yeah, the loophole, I'm like, where do you live? Because there's no loophole in this state. If you buy a gun and you didn't go through a background check, that's a crime.
See, I don't care about going through a background check because I'm clean.
Well, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm saying that currently that's the law.
Yeah, that's you know what? I do believe that there are people out there you do need to do background checks on because they don't need to have a damn gun. Say, for instance, if you have been convicted of domestic violence, I don't think you should have a gun.
That's Pennsylvania. If you're convicted of child abuse or any sort of domestic violence, flagged automatically. And I'll tell you what, I don't work in the private sector.
Mm-hmm.
So I get background checks routinely at my job. And what's funny is if I purchase when I purchase a legal piece,
Mm-hmm.
in fact, I'm purchasing another one for my wife. As soon as my name hits the system, it goes right through. Because I have several run for child abuse, for all kinds of, like I have to get an FBI check at my job.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying I'm not saying I like the FBI. I'm just saying that that's just what has to happen.
I used to belong to a profession that I would take care of a lot of people who need protection. And so regularly the Secret Service would run my background check. I've taken care of everybody from Obama to Clinton to Princess Diana when she came to Chicago for a dinner.
Interesting.
I've been ran so many times through background checks. I'm good.
I would, like, I mean, I look, I could be 100% wrong. I don't know Indiana's laws. I have no idea. All I'm saying is where I live in Pennsylvania. Nope. You can buy everything else. You can buy the clothes, the safes, the ammo, the clips. You can buy any other accessory for the gun, but the gun, nope. If you don't have a Pennsylvania license, Pennsylvania ID, they're going to look at you and be like, all right, see you later.
Yeah. No go for you.
Yeah. And like, I shop. I try to support my local people. I don't like Bass. Bass is fuck Bass.
Mm-hmm.
But all they're trying to do is take your money. So I just, I go to local places, but even at local places, you're talking about a person that has a business. Why are they going to risk that for you?
They're not. They're not. You're just an out of towner.
And I'm not saying that people don't do things illegally. I'm not saying that, but
you don't live among angels.
Yeah, but you get my point.
I can get your point.
Those people that do that, look, throw them under the jail. If Pennsylvania is never going to be a constitutional carry place, but I'm just saying I can't do that here. So I can't go to Jersey. I can't go to any other state unless I live there and purchase it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just why I find it so curious when they talk about, we gotta get the guns, but they never ask these kids, where do you get them?
They also drive them up from the South.
Yeah.
They drive them up from the South and unload them in the neighborhoods.
So the question is, who is doing it in the neighborhood, right?
Is
that another reason?
When all the conspiracy theories come out. But of course, drug gangs, because they need it for their protection. I mean, it's not just the CIA pulling up on the street corner in the hood, like opening the trunk saying, everybody come and get us.
I've heard pro-black say that though.
Yeah, because that is a conspiracy.
And in the 80s when they put crack in the neighborhood,
You know, and I'm gonna say I was an adult in the 80s, and I used to drive through certain neighborhoods because this is my town over here, and I've never seen a white man in the hood slinging dope. Everybody I ever saw, you know, out there, they was blending in with the darkness.
Not to cover that. That's an interesting topic too. I mean, hey, find that out. Tell me, that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
But here, let me get back to Dadeville. We'll cover Baltimore, and then I apologize. I gotta clean up before I hit my shift.
Okay.
So much fun. So much fun. Always fun hanging with Wicked though. Yeah, she cared for the guy who brought gay rights to America. You got to tell that story.
Hey, you know what? I used to my former profession, which was a blast. Loved it, loved it, loved it. And you know what my mother used to say, whatever you're gonna do, be the best. So I took care of everybody, as long as they paid me.
Yeah, we gotta have a story time with Wicked. That'd be fun.
The agent said one of the guns was found on Corbin Holston's chest. The agent testified, adding Holston wore a ski mask at one point, and most of the suspects said he fired first. Holston was among the 4 killed. Marciah Collins was also shot and killed. The agent said he had a gun on him, but it had not been fired. Those 2 guns, the only ones recovered from the scene. The agent says suspects Johnny Brown, Willie Brown Jr.,
Oh, I know now. I know why Obama didn't say anything, or
Look at
Biden.
Look at the thuns. And they all look the same. They all have the same expression and the same thick neck.
Jr. and brothers Tyreek and Travis McCullough and a 15-year-old are all related or knew each other, and they weren't even invited to the party. Willie Brown, who denies he was even there, is a suspect in another shooting in Auburn. And a juvenile suspect was wearing an ankle monitor from a shooting in Tuskegee, investigators say.
So I don't want to hear the law is racist.
Okay, just on the loose. On the loose, terrorizing everybody.
Do you know Aniah's law?
No.
Have you heard of Aniah's law in Alabama?
I don't know what it's for. I don't know what it is.
Off of a young Sure, let me show up. Well, I tell you, just show, don't tell.
Alabama voters head to the polls next week. On the ballot is Amendment 1, a law named in memory of Aniah Blanchard. She is the college student who was kidnapped and murdered in 2019. WKRG News 5 Shamani Baker spoke with Mobile Mayor Sandy Stimpson about this law that aims to keep violent repeat offenders in jail.
Mayor Stimpson, a number of other mayors from Alabama, and Governor Kay Ivey are voicing their support for Aniah's law, now more than ever with Election Day approaching. Aniah's law would allow judges to deny bond to violent crime offenders in an effort to keep them off the streets and prevent them from committing other crimes. Legislators initially introduced a bill in 2018 that was unsuccessful, but after Aniah was killed in 2019, they changed the name of the bill to remember her. Governor Ivey released a statement endorsing the bill. A part of that statement read, quote, "I encourage every Alabamian to join me in voting yes on Aniah's law, to ensure no family would have to go through the pain of preventable tragedy." Mayor Stimpson agrees, saying that people who care about public safety will vote in favor of the bill.
There's nothing that I know that could be more impactful than passing Amendment 1. You're actually changing the state constitution. And the reason the mayors and the governor are so much behind it is simply because of the impact it'll have all across the state protecting our citizens.
Mayor Stimpson also says that by naming Amendment 1 after Aniah, it helps people put a face to a situation that was preventable with a law like this. When we previously spoke with Aniah's mother, she agreed.
Just a law that everyone knew that we needed, that state needed so bad. And to have Aniah's name on it, I feel like that Aniah gave her life for other people and to save other people, because this shouldn't be happening in our state. You know, repeat violent offenders should not be just out on the street to
So essentially, you had some woke judges.
And Kim Fox, in the vein of Kim Fox, just let them out. Let them out. They're misunderstood. You know, where is the sympathy for the victims? Look at this beautiful girl. Look at this beautiful girl.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the crime. So essentially, there was this guy on parole. He just happened to be at a gas station. He hollered at her. She just walks by, doesn't say anything. So he raped her and killed her. Took her out of it into his car. Trying to find the Dusty.
You know what the saying is? Right?
Anaya's.
There's an old saying. Men fear that women will laugh at them, and women fear that men will kill them. And when you say no to one of these Dusties, they feel so enraged and so entitled that they will reach out and kill you. We had a case in Chicago a few years back, beautiful Indian girl. I think she was coming home from a party, and a Dusty who had just got out of jail tried to holler at her. She ignored him. He followed her back to her car, raped and killed her.
Where was this?
In Chicago. I think she went to either University of Chicago or University of Illinois, Chicago Circle campus, whatever it's called over there. A couple years ago. Beautiful, beautiful Indian girl killed by a Dusty because she didn't want to talk to him.
Was she the one writing the paper on criminology at Chicago College?
I don't think that was her.
Was she the one was stabbed?
Yeah, he followed her to her car. And no, he didn't shoot. I think he stabbed her to death, raped her, and killed this poor, beautiful girl because she didn't want to talk to him.
But Chicago campus won't allow them to carry, but they'll put grape buttons in every woman's stall in the bathroom, right?
Oh, good.
Did you know that?
That's really going to do a lot of good.
Did you know they have emergency buttons in all the stalls?
No, I didn't know that.
This law has widespread support from Mobile Mayor Sandy Stimpson.
The single most significant thing that can happen is that you go vote.
Blanchard, a young woman who was kidnapped in Auburn and murdered. Her alleged killer was out on bond on a previous offense. Currently, only capital murder defendants can be held without bail. Anaya's law would extend that to non-capital murder, kidnapping, rape, and 9 other violent offenses. But
Find the guy who did it.
Was that the guy in handcuffs?
Yeah.
Mark Drew?
I just want to get a face.
So Black Lives Matter.
Just want to get a face. And this guy was mean mugging the parents the whole trial.
Shocking details about a kidnapping and murder of Anaya Blanchard.
Right. Her accused killer, Ibrahim Yazid, telling a witness he shot Blanchard because she, quote, went for the gun. Yazid now facing a second
So he was claiming self-defense.
capital murder charge.
Court filing indicates an unnamed subject saw Yazid at a Montgomery home wearing only shorts. He had a gun tucked into the shorts. That person indicated while they never saw Blanchard, Yazid did have her vehicle and that he admitted to shooting a girl.
The 2 counts now of capital murder are for Blanchard's death during a kidnapping and for her death occurring inside a motor vehicle. Meanwhile, Yazid started yelling in court today. Listen.
But they don't have no video, no audio of me shooting anyone. That's what I'm trying to see. How y'all gonna bind me over on hearsay, but y'all ain't presenting no evidence.
Blanchard's body recovered last week in rural Macon County after she'd been missing for more than a month.
Yeah, so he hollered at her in the gas station.
Hi there, and thank you for looking in tonight. I'm Lenny Slagan.
And I'm Byron Day. We're still working the crime scene near a church on County Road 2 in Macon County to try to figure out what happened after the 19-year-old college student just disappeared. Our Tyler Fingert live near the scene for us tonight.
All right, Tyler,
Well, anyway, that's Anaya's law. So
Okay.
This guy got her, and after that, he was out on bond, I think, for armed robbery.
Mm.
And then everyone was like, "Nah, bro, nah, that's over." And what's funny is now people are like, lawyers are complaining because now that's being used against which community, and now they're saying it's unfair
Oh,
because now they go ahead.
no, go ahead. Let me finish your thought.
Ock Nation News usually covers some, it's a random. People will just ask, "Hey, go here, go there,"
Mm-hmm.
and now the Kings, who are being accused of violent crime now, when they get caught, well, if you're accused of the big four, the armed robbery, the rape, the murder, because of Anaya's law, no, they ain't letting you go. And now their lawyers are out protesting against it. And it's like, I mean, what do you think? Do you think it's an attack on poor people when poor people commit the violent four? Because violent crime is categorized as rape, assault and battery, robbery, which is not theft or burglary. Robbery is force or the threat of force,
Mm-hmm.
and then homicide. Do you think that's unfair that they have to be detained on bond?
I think they should be locked up and the key thrown away. Hell no. You are obviously a threat to society. Why are we making it a priority to put them back out in society? And as far as that, crimes are just committed by poor people, I don't care. They're out there committing crime. They're killing folks. I don't care if they sleep in the dirt, if they've got a gun and they're killing somebody or raping somebody or whatever. I don't care, because I know a lot of people that are poor. And there has been 1 or 2 times in my life where I have been in dire straits. I didn't go out and rob the local bank or somebody, at a gas station. I did what I needed to do to get myself together. There are some people who are just sociopaths, and we need to understand that. We've got a segment of this country, and it's not just Black people, but we got a segment of this country where people are just vicious and will do anything they want to do, and no one's holding them back. But as far as the Dusties, the mammies are helping them out. The mammies want them to just run rampant. Between the white liberals and the mammies, these guys have so much protection over them. They have an umbrella of protection over them and a pillow under them, so they don't have to face the full consequences of their actions. And to hell with victims.
I was actually fighting somebody yesterday because they were telling me I don't know enough about programs. I only follow the crime, and I burst out laughing. So I talked about the Philly, and I talked about the piece. I was like, he was 14 and he had a piece and house arrest, ankle monitor. I was like, he was complaining that they don't teach him about credit and they don't teach him about buying house. But it's like, yo, brother, you've been in the juvenile center longer than you've been in high school.
See,
what did you learn?
Teach you about filling out a job application. Okay, what about that? He's talking about a bank loan to get a mortgage. You can't even get a job.
Oh, it's okay. Because of Biden on the May 1st, now everyone with a credit score above 750 is going to be supplementing everybody with a credit score below 650. Did you hear about that?
Yeah,
that's passing in May.
And you know what? And that made me so angry because I have worked on my credit, to keep my credit where I need to do, because I need to do certain things. I need to buy property.
It's equity. Equity.
But, I'm furious about that. I'm sorry, but if you're a high risk, you shouldn't get a loan. Or if you do get a loan, you should pay a little bit more. Don't take from me. I work. I pay my bills on time.
Man, when I was when I came home from my summer job and I lost the place I was staying at, I had to sleep at 30th Street Station because I had a repossession. My credit was just done, like under 500, it was like 370. I had to literally sleep at 30th Street for 3 months, and I got an old job. I got my job back. I had to pay $5,000, which was just a down payment plus first and last, just to get an apartment, because the person literally told me, you are such a risk that I need just cash up front. So I had to get a verbal month to month. Oh my God.
Once I was involved in a relationship once, and the guy scared me. He scared me, and it takes a lot to scare me, because I grew up on John Wayne movies, and so he scared me so bad I left my place in the middle of the night with no shoes on, with just a telephone in my hand, and I called a friend. And my friend is, just somebody I've known for a very long time. And she lives for the drama. And so she pulled up, picked me up, and everything I had, I left behind. And I couch surfed at her place for 2 months until I made enough money to do what I needed to do to make a move. But in the meanwhile, I wasn't thinking clearly. And this guy cleaned me out. Cleaned me out and then charged up everything he could, with my credit. And I had to come back from that. And I'm telling you, it took me a few years to come back from that. What he did to me financially was worse than him threatening my life.
Had a longer lasting effect. I'm happy he didn't cripple you or anything.
No. Look, I've said it before, I date a lot of cops, and so he, got into one of these things where he was like, if I can't have you, nobody's going to have you, blah, 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 they all have the same script. And so I was like, oh, okay. And so then when he turned his back, I left out. I just went right out the door and kept going. I was like, I don't need shit. I don't even need shoes.
Yeah.
You only have to threaten me one time. And
so we'll do.
I've been homeless too.
Let's check out a couple for. When I was homeless, I didn't feel the need to go. I was so embarrassed. I think it was more the shame that I had to tell a person, because I was trying to find somewhere to live. And people were like, oh, where do you live now? I was so ashamed, Yeah,
I come from a family that is pretty middle class. I was too ashamed to call them up and let them know what was happening with me. But I was very, very, and that my friend said, stay here, don't worry about money, sleep on my couch, get yourself together. Yeah. And it took me 2 months to get enough money to do what I needed to do. And then I was out of there. But for 2 months, I lived on her grace.
Yeah, that's a good friend.
Yeah.
That's a good friend.
Yeah.
The dude I found, their house hadn't been built yet. It was still being finished, but he told me I could because when I came back, I only had a bag of clothes, for my summer job, because I wasn't working at Philly. I was working at Knoebels. I worked at Carnival for a summer. But he let me leave my stuff there. But he told me if I didn't have this money by the time the house was ready, he said he was just going to throw my stuff out, and he needed so much money. So I guess he did me a favor. I didn't have to, I could I could shower at Planet Fitness and everything, and
better than the bus station. At least you had privacy and you had plumbing.
Well, I went to Planet Fitness. It was only $5 a month at the time, $5-10 a month.
Oh, okay.
And I would just take a shower. But I left my clothes, when I got a job, I was a waiter again. So, and I just worked every double I could. But Philly, working a job in Philly where you ain't getting tipped. Ghetto-tastic, But let's cover Baltimore because it's just depressing.
More lives are touched by gun violence in the city. In the course of 5 hours this afternoon,
We won't tell you where we got the guns, but gun violence.
6 people, including a 14-year-old, were shot around the city. One of them, a 28-year-old man, killed in West Baltimore. The violence coming hours after city leaders gathered to talk about public safety.
We are still losing way too many people to violence, but more specifically, young people.
Violence is a disease. It's a disease that's
First impression, go.
Well, you know what? Why do they all have the same look? You know, the young guys nowadays, they coming back with the afros and the beards, and they've got this, this very like earnest look. And the mammies are always like, with the natural hair. They have the same look. And look at the guy over here in the polo. We've seen that guy. And then we've got, of course, the white liberals behind.
White women.
Yeah. Hey, they're, it's just like, the way they like
Selling out their children.
dogs.
Selling out their children.
Oh,
They don't want to be called transgender. So they want men around their females in the bathroom and in the locker room and in the prison.
because they don't think it's going to be their children. They don't think it's going to be an issue with their children. They want them to be around your children and other women. They think that this is kind of like this academic, subject. They're not really going to have to deal with this. So it's easy to be liberal.
I heard somebody say something really good. They said liberals have to liberate. There is always somebody they have to free. There's always somebody who's being oppressed. And they just can't handle the fact that maybe there is no fight or revolution that has to happen.
Exactly.
It's just
once gay people got the ability to marry one another, they were like, okay, what's the next front?
yeah.
Transgender.
Here, let's see. That's the tease.
Mm-hmm.
Here, let me see what the mayor has to say.
More specifically, young people.
Violence is a disease. It's a disease that's transmitted in a cycle.
The power of this work is the fact that it is a community coming together to solve our own problems.
Our work is far from done, but the progress made by the CBI ecosystem to date is encouraging and is worth celebrating.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Kai Jackson. Mary Bubala.
What'd you think of all that? Was that all just a big fucking circle jerk?
Yeah, it's more of the same. It's more of the same. We're going to put these bandages on, but we're not going to actually deal with the cause of the disease. We're going to give you some cough syrup so you feel better, but we're not going to do anything for the actual cold. Because nobody wants to talk about the cause of the disease because it's embarrassing, because the Dusties are protected. And they are the cause of the disease. And if young people are being killed, they're being killed by other young people because they are like coyotes. They are vicious.
As all tonight, Mayor Brandon Scott continues to express optimism in his crime-fighting strategy. Shortly after 7 o'clock this evening, 3 people were shot inside the McElderry Park Safe Street Zone. One of the victims, a 14-year-old boy, and it's where the mayor tells
there's a Safe Street Zone? Didn't they know it's the Safe Street Zone?
They must not have put up signs.
Oh, that's right. One out of every 10 Baltimore kids reads at a kindergarten level. So maybe they need pictures.
Maybe they did put up signs, but they just can't read it because they.
Damn.
Safe Street success today. We have team coverage tonight as we continue to push for accountability and transparency from elected leaders. Mackenzie Frost has more on.
But the news is part of the problem.
Because
and I'm not absolving.
They're afraid to actually report it the way it is. They have to report it in a way that they won't get in trouble because they have bosses to answer to.
And I'm not saying that Fox News doesn't push their own propaganda, because they certainly do. But they do cover crime. But even in that framework, you're right. They don't. There's a script. It's a fake conservative outlet. It's a neocon outlet, and they're now accepting the left liberal. Oh, it has to be systemic, institutional. They're victims. They're slowly going in that direction.
Because you know what? That's the canon, right? That's the canon. Ever since the civil rights movement, there's been this slide into, okay, these poor people have, they just have never been given a chance. They have all of these horrible circumstances being put upon them. There's absolutely zero personal accountability being preached. It's just everybody in the hood is a victim, including the ones who are dealing drugs and killing everybody. Everybody's a victim, except the victims.
It just gets frustrating seeing the same people just say the same shit and spin in the same circle.
They have to repeat the same line. Because if they don't repeat the same line, they're going to be accused of, oh, you're a racist. You don't understand. They have to repeat the same line, or there's going to be hell to pay.
Someone has to pay it at some point.
You would think, but you can't. You can't, because, I used to be one of those people that thought, oh, people go, oh, the liberal media. But you know what? There is a such thing. I mean, for whatever reason, this is the slant, and you cannot offend people with the truth.
I guess it's time to move to Orania. Here, I apologize. I'm gonna have to cut it. Do you have any more time this week, or like on Friday or something, or next week, or what?
Friday is good for me. Friday's good for me.
All right, I'll hit you up on Friday.
Sounds good.
All right, you take care, and I'll see you then.
All right, don't work too hard.
Yeah, take care. Later.
Bye-bye.